There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We weren't arguing.
They talk about their cars, sing about their cars. Some people even look like their car. Whether it's an old car, new old car, fast car, family car, electric car, race car, two-wheel car, no-wheel car, or a car you know's parked around here somewhere. People who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small, some people tinker some degree between those two variables.
Whose voice is that?
And that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name.
It's Kevin.
Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super. Because super is our middle name. Well, technically it's our first.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to round 14 of the Supercheap Auto East Coast V8 Series, coming to you tonight live from Sandown, Melbourne, Victoria. And with me tonight, I have my great colleague and good friend, Mark Duggan. How are you, Mark?
I'm very well, John. Good to be here. How are you going?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad at all for a Tuesday night. A bit chilly and cold still where I am, but at least it's stopped raining.
Yeah, the good thing about being at Sandown with the real V8s tonight and the circus that's going to turn up there on the weekend is that we're in first and we've got the real one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And big shout out to Ben Anthony out watching. He's tipping Roy Clark for the win. And Will Wilson's with us again. And our regular special experts comment in the chat tonight is actually on track, Mr. Sean McNamara, which is good to see.
Yeah, good to have Sean here. They're a great team, the 9-5 Sim Sport team, and Sean's a real nice guy, so good to have him racing tonight. I just noticed Ben saying increase your volume, John.
Yep, I've just done that. I've just adjusted that one. Still settling in for the evening. And what we might do is have a quick look at the track map so everyone can get an understanding of what we've got. So, of course, Sandown, located just north of Dandenong in Melbourne, and also home of the Sandown horse racing circuit or track, whatever they call it. And as you can see, we start on a nice long straightaway heading down into turn one. Great overtaking opportunity there and a corner to watch during the first lap. Then we come through the nice kink through turn 2, turn 3, and then we come through the bottom of the track at turn 4, and then we go up the long back straightaway through the kink at 5, and then we come up through the very fast flowing section where we flow through turn 6, turn 7, turn 8, into Dandenong corner at turn 9. Then we go through the kink under the bridge into turn 11, where we then have another kink into turn 12, and we sweep back onto the main start-finish straight for another run, long run down into turn 1. And one of the key things about this circuit, of course, is the short pit entry and pit exit. Track is only 3.1 kilometres long, 13 turns, and iRacing are yet to have an official series here, so there's nil iRacing official records to tell us who's fast, but I can tell you these lads are fast, Mark.
Yeah, you're not wrong there, John. I can certainly say James Scott is pretty quick around here, but I'm sure he'll have a bit of competition tonight. And just wondering if we actually need to cross the sports bet to check on that pricing for Roy Clark.
If you look at the wall, it's Ladbroke here at this circuit. I had to laugh that iRacing put the Ladbroke signage up. Yeah, I'd definitely be keeping an eye on Roy Clark. I heard he's been doing a lot of practice, been working quite hard. Be interesting to see how he actually goes. And a big shout out to Mary Partridge, of course, watching Harrison, and Tracy Warboys watching Blake. And Will Wilson just wanted to remind us that this is the future home of the Sunshine Point housing estate. Which is a nice one.
Yeah, I can't see my lot yet, but anyway, I'll keep an eye out during the broadcast.
And we let's quickly move on and have a look, as we've only got a couple of minutes left. We'll go through qualifying. We haven't got championship standings. Ash Barella and Josh Drage are telling me they're going to hold off on that so that we can be surprised who wins the series. But we'll have a quick look at the qualifying. I'm going to be a bit different tonight. I'm going to work backwards. It's on the back rows. First of our rear grid boys on row 22. We've got the 9.5 legend, Dylan Rudd, the man who drove really well last week, with his teammate Sean McNamara, team boss, behind him. And on row 21, we've got Matt Brunt from Synergy Sim Racing, with the number 1, Corey Mcfarlane, our reigning Series 2 champion, coming out for a bit of a drive as a rear grid. And then row 20, we've got Darren Shannon and Scotty Perrins. Darren Shannon, I hear, has got new pedals, and learning to come to grips with those is going to take him a little bit, I've been told. And row 19, we have Jason Schulier from Century Motorsports with Craig Wasley. And then in row 18, we've got Stephen Martin, and then we've got the man who's going to win, Roy Clark, with a 107.738. Row 17, we've got Matty Whitaker and Matthew Scholes from Calamari Racing and Riot Sim Racing. Row 16 is the Riot Sim Racing row with David Nash and Alan Dawson. And then row 15, we have Hayden Norris from Riot Sim Racing with Warren Davis in the 007 car for Banter Alliance Racing. The next row in row 14, we have Jamie McKnight, the People's Champion, a little bit far back there, I think. Anyway, we'll see what he does. And alongside him, we've got Fast Motorsports' Matty Stewart. On row 13, we move into Cameron G. Jones from Century Motorsports with Bradley Baldwin. Also sitting there on row 13. Row 12, we've got Craig Schultz from 9.5 SimSport. Great qualifying effort there from Craig. Put himself in front of Stephen Varga from Synergy Sim Racing. Row 11, we see Josh Strage from WK&P with Ash Barella from WK&P. Josh Strage with a 107 flat, which is a fairly good effort considering he's been out of the car for a while. And then we move on to row 10, where we've got Christian Smart and Jared Bailey from Synergy Sim Racing and Rapid Team Rensport. Row 9 sees Paul Young, which is from Banter Alliance, not 9.5. I'm not sure what's going on with my macros there. I shouldn't have said that, the M word, but anyway. Row 18, we have Michael Whiting from Fishing Motorsports. Sorry, in 18th on row 9. Row 8, we see Damien Johnstone from Synergy Sim Racing and Dave Coleman from Fishing Motorsports in 16th. 13th, we've got Michael Brennan from 9.5. And next to him, we've got Dylan O'Shea from Simrig DPR. Row 6, and a great effort here from Gianni Lutzu from 9.5 SimSports. Great drive last week, putting himself just outside the top 10 this week. Be interesting to see how he goes. And next to him, we've got Ben Morris from 9.5 SimSports. Row 5 sees Harrison Dengate in P9 alongside Banter Alliance Racing's James Chastanove. Row 4 in 7th is David Kirby. Great qualifying from David, the veteran showing some plenty speed tonight, with Kenneth Latta sitting in 8th next to him. Then on row 3, we've got Blake Warboys. Next to Blake, we've got Adam Briggs. Then on row 2, we've got Blake Delaney from Fishy Motorsport and Jamie Dyke from Fishy Motorsport. The Fishy boys putting themselves right up on the grid there. And then we have, on the front row, Andrew Dyson from Synergy Simrigs.com DPR. Next to Synergy Sim Racing's James Scott, who has taken the pole out with a 105.966. That is our grid. And it's definitely not going to be a one-way show for the Synergy boys tonight.
No, that's right, John. James Scott's got a pretty decent buffer with his. He got about 4/10 on Andrew Dyson, but Andrew is the master tactician, as we saw last week. And yeah, like you said, the Fishy boys doing really well. Put, I think, 3rd, 4th, and 7th, plus a few other boys scattered throughout the field. 9.5 got plenty of boys in there this week, outdoing the Synergy boys, I think.
Yes, Synergy boys. Still, a few of them still caught up with the E-Series. But I'll probably expect to see some of them back in for next season. I know quite a few of them have already registered. So looking forward to seeing those guys back in the frame. But I think we're in for a good race tonight. Don't rule out Dyson and Scott putting on a show. And then, of course, we've got Delaney and Dyke sitting back there in that next row. So the Fishy boys definitely will be looking to get amongst it.
Yeah, Fishy boys clearly nailed their setup this week. And I know they're actually all getting together at the real Sandown on the weekend. So they'll all be looking forward to a good race tonight. And then, like you said, it's good to see last season's champion, Corey Mcfarlane, back with us for a race. He's on the rear of grid, and Dylan Rudd and Sean McNamara. So there's some really quick boys coming from the back as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And of course, it's been a few weeks, but we've got season 1, season 2, and our season 3 champion elect racing tonight. So looking forward to seeing all 3 of them going around. I guess the other big name to keep an eye out for, as we said before, is Roy Clark. Big tip from Ben Anthony that he's going to take the win tonight. As we've got about another minute to go here while the boys are still gridding. A big shout out to the Hoff saying go Christian Smart. They Pecky Performance Racing. Andrew Hoffman in the chat as well. And the other person who's dropped in the chat, of course, was Pete Kelleher from Synergy Sim Racing. So a few of the Vets boys dropping in for a bit of a chat tonight, which is great to see.
Yep. Good evening to the Vets boys in the chat, and there's plenty of Vets boys in this series as well that do the Vets V8 series proud in this series. So, yeah, looking forward to some good racing, and also good to have Gianni Lutzu back again this week after his strong debut performance last week.
Of course, him getting named as a co-driver for the Logitech G Pro Series this week as well. So 9-5 boys definitely putting a lot of effort into Gianni at the moment as we're about to go green here, Mark. As clock just ticks past, but it shouldn't be any second. The boys are gridding. Here we go. 1 red, 2 red, 3 red, 4 red, 5 red. Lights are out and we are racing. A little bit slow off the start there from the Dyson's. Allowed Scott to get away, and it's allowed. Oh, someone into big accident in the back there. Someone was into Dengate, I think it was. Anyway, we'll keep going through that. We'll come back and look at that. We'll keep an eyes forward at the moment as we've got Scott, Dyke, Dyson, Delaney, Warboys, Briggs, Ladder, Chassis. I've got a feeling safety car may have been called.
Yep, safety cars on track. Gianni Lutzu's involved in that. I think it was David Kirby and Harrison Dengate, but I think were involved in the initial touches. So we'll have to look at the replay and see how that unfolded.
Gianni Kirby's in it. I've got a feeling, just trying to keep track here, there's people going everywhere in my list here, but we'll start with Kirby, see what we get of that. The Supercheap Auto replay. Looks like Ladder's come across and clipped Kirby, and then he's basically turned into a spinning top. I think he's been collected by about 10 drivers there. Might just go back on that one again. And that's Dengate going out to the wide side. So, yeah, Ladder just nicely moving over. A few boys getting clear there. But quite a few caught up in that one. We might just see... See if I can get it from a different angle. We might come from starting position. And go to the blimp.
Quite a few innocent victims in that one.
So Kirby a little bit slow. Ladder's moved across, but it looks like in front of Ladder. I'm not sure. I think that might have been
Adam Briggs.
Briggs, yeah. So Briggsy's moved across in front, and of course has seen everything go haywire there. As we go to one more camera pit, probably should keep an eye on where they're all at. They're probably going again. Big shunt. You can see a lot of damage on Dengate's car as well. As we'll go back to live pictures, just in case we've got everything wrong here. No, we haven't. They're all still under the safety car. And Hoffy saying that there was more hits than Madonna. Yeah, I reckon poor old Kirby, Dave Kirby, I think he has been spun around and around and around. He's very dizzy.
He was like a pinball in there. Yeah, what we just saw there was a few people getting better starts than others and people tracking left and right. And yeah, you only need a minor touch in these V8 supercars in iRacing and it can send you sideways at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And that's what we saw, which is an unfortunate way to start the evening.
Now, and just while we've been watching the replays, Kenneth Ladder and Dave Coleman have stayed out. Everyone from Jamie Dyke, James Scott, Dyson, Delaney, Briggs, they've all pitted. Corey Mcfarlane in 12th, up 27 spots, it's not pitted. And the next man is Craig Worsley, up 22 spots, is not pitted. And then everyone else going down through the grid is pitted. So definitely some interesting strategies already with a lot of guys getting that first pit stop out of the way. Of course, 2 compulsory pit stops tonight, I believe. I'll double check that for us. But yes, that's correct. 2 compulsory pit stops. And only 1 pit stop per safety car allowed. So a little bit of a shuffle. It'll be interesting to see how ladder goes here. Obviously, lucky enough not to have been caught up from Kirby. Dave Coleman from Fishing Motorsport sitting in P2. Jamie Dyke getting the jump on James Scott in the pits.
Yeah, I just noticed that. That was good work from Jamie Dyke. He's able to get in front of James Scott during that pit sequence. Be interesting to see how long he can hold him out.
Absolutely. Of course, we're only 3 of 81 laps, so still a long way to go here. And can't even really talk too much about other interesting things. I think the other one out of the guys that have not pitted, Ben Morris is up. Sorry, the guys who have pitted, Ben Morris is up 3 spots, which is a great start considering the 3 in front haven't pitted. So yeah, some big winners, but we've also got some big losers looking down the back with Jared Bailey, Nash, Kirby, Shannon, and Gianni Lutzu. As Richie Barella heads off. Safety car. Well, Supercheap Auto painting the livery up for the car this week. Nicely gets it into the pits in one piece as Kenny Ladder heads off. We are away. Someone diving into the pits there, Dave Coleman. So not sure what that's about. Possibly a pit lane penalty maybe. But it is Kenny Ladder coming down into turn 1. James Scott having a look on the inside of Dyke. Looks like he's going to get the job done. Only just a little bit of muscling. Dyke all over the curbs there. And then we have Andrew Dyson in the blue livery this week with Blake Delaney tucked up behind him. Then Briggs and Warboys sitting back, and then a little bit of a gap back to Ben Morris. But it looks like at the moment Kenny Ladder's getting off to a nice little jump here and looking quite stolid and quite settled.
Yeah, good jump from Kenneth. Jamie Dyke was actually a good save in the end because he was bouncing all over the curbs and the car really wanted to kick out from under him, but he was able to keep it under control and he's still in 3rd place, was a good job. Andrew Dyson in 4th. As we know, Andrew is very crafty with his strategy, so don't count him out tonight.
Absolutely. And a big moment there coming into Dandenong from James Scott, getting the car a little bit out of shape. Showing great car control to make it look like it was meant to be. But these boys, this first group here, these first 11 cars have absolutely blown away from the rest of the pack.
Yeah, there's a big gap opened up after 11th back to 12th. It's I'm not sure how big the gap is, but it's quite significant.
Whoa,
Oh, Jamie Dyke's around.
Around. Now we're going 3 wide up the back straight here. A little bit on the grass there from Briggs. Warboys having looked to the inside. Dyson in the middle. Delaney on the outside. Delaney tucks back in behind. Briggs is through. Warboys side by side with Dyson. Warboys is through, coming down in Dandenong. Dyson tucks in behind Warboys. Wow, a little bit of a spin from Jamie Dyke there. Created a lot of angst for a few of these boys.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he got a helping hand or if it was all on his own, but that's allowed the 2 Synergy boys at the front, Kenneth Ladder and James Scott, to kick clear at the moment.
We might jump on the Supercheap Auto replay and have a quick look what happened to Jamie Dyke. They're quite composed coming in, on using a bit much curb, a little bit loose. And a little bit slow coming out. I think he was pretty much losing it as he was going there. Then tapped by Dyson to finish him off. Nicely throws the car around. And gets it going, losing a few more spots. And back to live pitches as Briggs under pressure now from War Boys. And Dyson would be looking to get back into this battle.
That's tough luck for Jamie. He never quite got the car resettled, and he just couldn't quite control it.
And definitely allowed Scott and Ladder to get away. And we might have a bit of a look back through a little bit. Dyson is only 0.3 seconds up behind War Boys. Blake Delaney hanging on to this battle here. And Ben Morris trying to latch onto the back of it, bringing along with him Chastity and Dengate. And then at the end of that battle pack, we've got Dylan O'Shea. As we've got another car off the track at the moment. Just trying to work out who that is. Who's in 40th? It's David Kirby. Got it going again. So not having a good night, Mr. Kirby. Right, James Scott's gotten past Ladder. Scott is away. So it'd be up to Ken now to probably just tuck him behind, try and conserve his strategy and keep a nice clear gap from Briggs behind. As the boys are definitely battling it out behind as we go back to 9th with Dengate and Chastity. Harrison giving Chastity the hurry up. Brady Baldwin's had a spin on track as well. So definitely plenty of action.
Yeah, it's full of action. Craig Wasley and Jason Schulier in 12th and 13th seem to be a bit of a cork in the bottle at the moment, and it's banking up the rest of the pack. So it could be a bit of action coming back through from 13th, 14th, 15th, all the way back to the end of the tail.
It's about to go 3 wide into turn 1, having a good hard look. As it looks like Whiting's going to get through here. So Wasley under all sorts of pressure as the 9-5 boys start trying to make their way past. Good respectful driving there, not too much panel bashing. Someone a bit loose, that was Drage, but he's managed to get it back under control. Definitely some good, fun, hard racing from the boys. We've had a bit of an incident up front. Just trying to catch up with what's going on. There's a bit of everywhere to look here. We're going to go on board with Ladder here on the Supercheap Auto Replay. He's come a bit loose and hot coming down into Dandenong. I don't think he'll be the only person to do that tonight. Let's come back to live pitches. And Damien Johnstone's been given a drive through for contact with Liuzzi, I think. The 959 car. I think I've got that wrong. Trying to remember who 959 is. Bear with me for a second.
Yeah, it's Gianni Lutzi, John.
Yeah, it was. Yep. So the first drive through of the night peeled out. As we start to settle in a bit more. So James Scott's now out to a 3.5 second lead from Briggs. Briggs still under pressure from War Boys. Blake's probably nicely just going to tuck in behind there. And Dyson would be running that strategy, I think, as well. And they've cleared out a little bit now from Delaney and Morris. So the front end of the grid starting to settle down a bit now. But still plenty of action, still plenty of racing, still plenty of battles to go through. Might drop back, have a look at our friend Stephen Varga. He hunts down in front of him Cameron Jones. Of course, this is basically Vargas' backyard, so definitely knows this part of the world very well.
Told me he wasn't getting off the couch this weekend and he was going to watch it on telly.
That'd be Vargas.
Yeah, that mid-pack was quite frantic there for a few laps. The racing settled down a little bit now, and there's a few groups. There's 3 or 4 different groups on the road now, and there's one group right out front. That's James Scott, and he has really got a commanding lead at the moment of about just over 4 seconds.
Absolutely, showing the class of driver that he is. And then, of course, we've got James Chastaneef here under all sorts of pressure from Dengate. So we can see how much patience Harrison can show, or whether he's going to get aggressive and try and get past. Of course, Harrison getting the hurry up from Dylan O'Shea behind. As we've got someone in the wall there, it looks like that might have been Warboys. Warboys has gone off at Dandenong.
Yep, you're right, John. It was Black Warboy.
A little bit of a tap from Dyson in there as well. We might just go the blimp view. Looks like Briggs got hot in front, forces Warboys to break a bit harder, and then Dyson's tapped him. So I'd hate to be race control at the moment. We might just jump on with Briggs to see if there's any damage on any of these cars.
Yeah, that's a tough one on Andrew Dyson with, like I said, John Briggs checking up and then Blake checking up, and Andrew was left nowhere to go.
Might come back to that one at the end of the race. We've got more time to dissect it. On lap 10. And we start to settle back in again. And Scott is now 6.5 seconds up the road, so he's long gone. Warboys has been in, no, sorry, not Warboys, Dawson and Clark have been into the pits. Had another pit stop. And they've still got this great battle going on in the mid area with Barger, Jones, Dyke, Brennan and Smart. So this pack here is really battling away quite hard.
There's no surprises there. Any mid-pack battle in the V8s in iRacing is hard fought.
And Sean McNamara is up 20 spots in the 21st. He's having a great drive as well, as he makes his way past Jason Shawley. And Drage, the Supercheap Auto WK&P entry behind. And then one of the Riot boys, a little bit loose there in the background. So a few boys still struggling a little bit for grip. It's a track where you've got to be patient, but you've got to make sure you get on the gas and get plenty of drive. Because the straights aren't very long. You don't get too many opportunities.
That's right. You really got to maximise your exit and get onto that throttle at 100%. Big time. And I just see Dylan Rudd and Stephen Varga have slight touch there by the look of it.
And coming, oh, big dive from Dylan Rudd. Let's put Rudd around and put Varga into the sand. I think he's managed to keep it going. A bit of, oh, I missed that at the end there. Matthew Brunt, I think, got taken by Rudd. Go back to that. He smokes it up to the fence. This might be the end of what had happened. I might have that last little bit. Anyway, there was another secondary incident there, so leave that one up to race control. Will Wilson saying the boys are taking too much sausage.
Probably not Dylan's finest moment there.
Anyway, we'll move on. Andrew Dyson still rolling. He's right up behind Adam Briggs. This is battle for second spot on the road at the moment. Blake Delaney hanging back, looking for any crumbs if they fall his way. Hanging on nicely to these boys. These three running quite well together here at this stage of the race. And then we're looking at about 2 seconds back to Ben Morris. And then a further 2 seconds back to Kenneth Latta. And then a 1.5 seconds back to the Chastaneef Dengate O'Shea battle. We've still got a couple of battle packs forming around the track. And Kenneth Latta is the only man still not to have stopped. And until we get back to Scholler and Mcfarlane, of course, back a little bit further in 21st and 22nd. But as...
Yeah. Sorry, John, I was just about to say Harrison Dengate giving a good account of himself so far tonight in 8th spot and leading the way for the WK&P team.
H working quite hard at the moment, doing reasonably well.
We just had Kenneth Latta spear off at the end of Dandenong Road, I think.
I just thought someone might have speared off. I might just jump back on to that. And come in a little bit hot, missed his braking point, and straight into the kitty litter. And just because I can have fun with it, Josh Strage has gone off as well.
Yeah, it seems like a popular spot.
Yeah, Josh Strage finding the fence there as he comes through the bottom corner. And we'll go back to live pictures. Yeah, Harrison doing really well. He's definitely stepped up in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, James Jasanoff making a slight mistake there, and that's allowed Harrison and Andrew Dyson through.
And Dave Baldock's in the chat tonight as well. Asking how Paul Young's going. Paul is sitting in 10th, Dave. So he's having a bit of a run by himself at the moment. He's got 3 seconds up the road and 3 seconds back. And just to keep you happy with the BAR boys, Warren Davis has had an off. And we'll have a quick look at the replay here. Looks like coming onto the start straight. Nice little tap from behind from one of the right boys as well. I don't think Warren will be too happy about that one. And keep an eye on Adam Briggs. Adam Briggs is under a bit of pressure now from Dyson. Dyson's getting a bit more racy. Of course, I'm a bit disappointed that Dave Baldock hasn't asked how Roy Clark's going, because Roy Clark is having an absolute blinder. Champion.
I think that could be a power struggle within that team, I think, John.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. People jumping in the chat early on, telling us that Roy Clark was in for the win. As Josh Strage has gone off again as well, as Asperella. Of course, Josh will be watching along, so he should probably show that for Josh, Ash's brother. This is for you, Josh. Ash does it himself off the curb, a little bit hot. The joys of brotherly love. And this Briggs-Dyson battle is really cracking along nicely at the moment.
Yeah, I haven't turned a lap at this track yet. I do own it, but I've never turned a lap on it, and it looks pretty bumpy, pretty slippery, and you need to be pretty accurate by the look of it, because what I'm seeing tonight is a lot of experienced drivers even making mistakes.
Absolutely. I think it's one of those tracks where you've really got to be on the money and work very hard, because it doesn't take much to make a mistake, and you don't really get much of a break in the sense that you don't have long straightaways. It's a very short lap time of only 1:07, and you're basically busy the whole time.
Yeah, and being quite high speed as well, so it doesn't allow you to make a slight error and get away with it. Like, a slight error can turn into a big mistake.
Absolutely. Dave Baldock saying Roy Clark hasn't paid for me to get in coverage this week, but VFS's own Paul Young has.
I told you there was a power struggle in that team.
Absolutely. I'll spread another little rumour. There was 2 BAR drivers in a WK&P session on Sunday night as well. Mind you, you don't get to see too many people when you're doing practice sessions around Nordschleife.
The contract review board will have to settle all that out.
That's funny. Like, seriously, when's that circus going to stop? Like, I think there's a lot more behind all that than, like, some of the stuff that I've read about the fact that they had an agreement up until the summer break, and then Alonso going on the Sunday night. Going on Monday morning instead of Sunday night, has opened the door up for Piastri to go wherever he wants.
Yeah, I think, like you say, there's a lot more to it than we're privy to, but I'm also pretty sure that half of it is all done to promote the circus of Formula One and keep it in the headlines.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd agree with you there too. As someone else said, it's turning in with Netflix Drive Survive. It's basically turning into a sports entertainment instead of motorsport. As we've got a drive-through penalty for Andrew Dyson for contact with Blake Warboys. So that's a bit of a rough one.
That is a rough one. I think, yeah, I don't know that I'd be too happy if I was Andrew, but race control make their own decisions and we have to stand by what they decide. They would have went through it with a fine-tooth comb.
And Damien Johnston's parked up facing in the wrong direction.
In between turn 1 and 2. So we could see a safety car here.
Waiting for it. Barella's still in the pits. But he definitely hasn't gotten the car going by the looks. Dyson on the comms, probably not happy about his drive-through. And yeah, I'd say we've got a safety car. Scott's dove in. Briggs is coming down.
Yeah, I see Richard Barella's out on track by the look of it. So, yeah, safety car's on track, I think.
Our second safety car for the evening. Let's try and see if we can find out what happened to Damien. As we'll just go to Supercheap Auto replay. And it looks like he's been tapped by one of the right boys and hit the fence there very hard. Definitely kept off the horse racing circuit. And I'd say he's had a few hits tonight. No, he's got a bit of wheel spin here. And that big puff of smoke, she's died. So, poor Damien caught up with Gianni Lutsu very early on. Might have another quick look at a couple of other quick instances while we can. Everyone diving into the pits. Dengate, Chastanoof, Warboys, Dyson, Schultz, Dyke, Paul Young, Barella. Might just have a quick look. Darren Shannon had an incident as well. That's just getting a little wide, I think, coming down into Dandenong, coming out of Dandenong. I think we showed Josh Drage. And yeah, Josh Drage just getting a little bit loose and taking a shortcut. And go back to live pictures.
Yeah, what we're seeing tonight, just like in real life, these curbs at Sandown are having a major effect on how the race unfolds.
Absolutely. As a couple of lapped cars being wound back here. Let's extend our safety car period a little bit. Will Wilson saying it's another crash caused by excessive porpoising. Definitely got a Formula One flavour tonight. So at the moment, we've got Adam Briggs, who's one stopped out front. James Scott in P2 has done his 2 stops. Michael Brennan is sitting in 3rd with 1 stop. And then Sean McNamara up 37 spots in 4th. Stephen Varga in the top 10 in 5th spot, with Hayden Norris from Right Sim Sports behind him in 22nd. Gianni Lutsu is up back into 7th. Blake Delaney in 8th. And Blake leading our 2 stoppers apart from James Scott. And then we've got Ben Morris, Dylan O'Shea, Matthew Scholes as a 1 stopper. And then Dengate is a 2 stopper with Chastity behind him. So Dengate getting the jump on Chastanoof there in the pit stop.
Yeah, Sean McNamara doing a great job, up 37 spots. James Scott, I'm presuming he can get home from here with he's done his 2 stops. So he's the only one in the top 7 that's done 2 stops. And then the next one with 2 stops is Blake Delaney in 8th spot.
Absolutely. Let's have a quick look at those pit times just to double check that. We'll just go to the pit strategy so we can see who stopped and who hasn't. That gives us a bit of a picture there. Who's done the stops? And I'm just going to have a look at the pit times. So we can see Scott stopped for 21 seconds. And Morris and O'Shea. So 21 seconds, they pretty much filled it up. So I'd say they're looking to bring it home from there. Which would be quite an interesting strategy because she's a long way still. Still got 40 odd laps to get it home.
We've got 60 laps.
60
from
laps,
here.
sorry. Yeah, 60, sorry. Pencil arithmetic's failed me again. 60 laps to get it home, and she's a long way.
Yeah, it's a hell of a long way, but I guess the track's cool, and I'm sure James Scott will just do what he has to do to keep it on track. I'm just looking for Jamie McKnight and cannot see him in my timing list.
I don't have him in my timing list either. I think Jamie didn't come into the server this evening, I'd say.
Ah, that's what it is. Okay.
Yep. It's a safety car, clears out. We're about to go racing again. Of course, track temperature is 21 degrees at the moment, so it is quite cool. Adam Briggs is going to roll it a long way here. Definitely holding him up. He's away now. So back to green flag racing. Varga comes out wide to go 3 wide. Looks like he's getting up the inside of one of the 9.5 SimSport boys. Oh, Vargas is caught sliding off. We'll come back and look at that one in a second. Definitely a
I
bit
think
too
that's
racing.
taken. James Scott was taking evasive action there.
Yeah, we might go to that actually. I think Supercheap Auto Replay, Scott's seen him in his mirror, so he stayed wide. But yeah, Vargs, absolutely. Very lucky not to clean anyone else up. And of course, James Scott's his teammate. But this has allowed Adam Briggs now to run away. Hey, Briggs.
Adam Briggs, a man in the right spot again.
Absolutely. And Paul Young has had a crash as well. And Dyson's had a crash. There's a few incidences going on in the back here. We might try and play catch up on those in a second. We do have a stopped car on track too, I think, being Paul Young. He's just got it going again with Dyson. We might just go back to see what happened here. So that's Scott coming back on. Looks like Varga's been hit by Paul Young. And then Young's been spun around by one of the 9.5 boys. Andrew Dyson's tapped onto the back of that and then just got hooked. Oh, this is a... Andrew Dyson now that's trapping Paul Young and one of the 9.5 boys, Craig Schultz. So that is a comedy of errors, that one, as we go back to the live pictures.
Mr. Magoo out on track.
Anyway, Michael Brennan now is in P2 with Team Boshaw McNamara behind, and Hayden Norris from Riot SimSports in 4th with Gianni Lutzu in 5th. So a great drive from a few of these boys. They're definitely battling away through this pack here. Said at the top of the show that we were going to be in for some exciting racing here at Sandown tonight, and it has definitely delivered.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's probably the scrappiest racing I've seen from these boys, but I'm not going to criticise them because I haven't driven the track, and I'm guessing it's quite a handful to muscle one of these V8 supercars around here on the iRacing platform. So there just seems to be lots of lockups, curbs playing a big role in people sliding off them and bumping other cars, and yeah, it just seems like it's easy. As we've got another accident at turn 4 or 5. Steve Varga involved again.
Yeah, into the back of Wasley. Then one of the Jones, and then it looks like Corey Mcfarlane involved there as well. Then another tap from Drage into the back of Dyke, I think. And I'd say that might be Ladder going too wide there with that one. So that's a bit of bump and run. As we've got a car stopped on track as well, which I think might be Warboys. Warboys stuck in the fence.
Oh no, we're up for another safety car.
Oh, definitely. Blake Warboys went off track. Let's have a look what's happened to Blake here. Oh! That is just crazy. So I'll just try and get a different view of that. Not sure who it was. One of the right boys has come and clicked him in the quarter panel. And I better just double check that we haven't gone to a safety car yet. I'm assuming we probably have with that.
That's an interesting place to park.
Not wrong. Just seeing if Barella's come out, has he?
Yeah, Rich Barella, I can see he's on track.
We might just go back that one a little bit further. So Matty Scholes got a little tap from Warboys to begin with. So, oof. And that was, yeah, Warboys' own doing, maybe. All right, we'll leave that one for race control as well. Boys having a very busy night.
That's some sort of payback there.
The safety car now has picked up Sean McNamara as our race leader.
Sean saying, what's the fuss all about?
Well, they come from the back to the front. Yeah, we're not even half race distance.
Disappointing from Sean, he's only up 40 spots.
Yeah, it just backs up some of the stuff he's been typing in the chat, doesn't it? Unlike you, Mr. Bulldog, Sean McNamara can back it up. Just thought I'd throw that one out there.
James Scott is, he's been put back in the pack after avoiding action to miss a spinning Stephen Varga, and it was great work from James to actually pick that up in his periphery vision and steer clear of that, so it could have ended up a lot worse for him.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just going to flick back to Matthew Scholes going off. I've just got a feeling that I'll just try and do this as quick as I can, as smart as I can. Matthew Scholes. James Scott was avoiding the Warboys incident as well. So he did get a little bit of a whack there from Scholes in that one. So he was involved in that.
That's what happens when you're in the pack. You're at the perils of other drivers' mistakes, and it's easy to get caught up in something that is nothing of your own doing.
Absolutely. I half thought I saw the red Synergy Sim Racing car in that incident. I didn't really want to say any too much because I wasn't 100% certain it was James. And Will Wilson saying keep an eye out for Dave Bulldog coming and winning down the finishing post.
Well, Dave's on the horse, is he?
I'd probably say David fall off before he got to the finishing post, but yeah, he's probably on the horse. And Will Wilson renaming Blake to Wall Boys.
Quite appropriate, that one. No,
It is.
I've never seen a car land like that. But yeah, it was a bit of bad luck for Blake, but like you say, he kind of made a little bit of his own doing there, so that's what happens, I guess.
Silverstone Grand Prix. So I think it was putting himself up on the fence. Pretty similar, up above the tyre barrier and then dropping behind it. Except Blake staying on the tyre barrier. But yeah, I've never seen a car in that position at Sandown before. As I'm sure we should be going green this lap.
So we've still got 53 laps to go, so still quite a distance to go. Hoping the boys can settle down a bit and get some good clean racing going on for a few laps now.
Absolutely, that's what we're looking for. It's been very hectic. We're into our third safety car. I'd like to think we're not going to see another one, but I've got a feeling we're going to be proven wrong as Richie Barella heads off. Getting plenty of lap time tonight. Keeps going at this rate. We'll have to classify him as a finisher. As Sean McNamara leads the boys onto the straight. And Sean is away. Not waiting, he's gone. So we've got McNamara, Brennan, Norris, Gianni Lutzu, Blake Delaney, Ben Morris, Dylan O'Shea and Harrison Dengate, Baldwin and Rudd rounding out our top 10. And looks like Dengate's involved in a little bit of an incident back there with O'Shea. I might just quickly go to the replay on that one. So O'Shea coming down, Warboys, no, sorry, not Warboys, Dengate having a look on the inside. And a slight touch. Another one for race control to get excited about. Someone else has clipped him there a little bit, looking at the rear wing getting bent. But Sean McNamara nicely being balanced here, out to a 2.5 seconds already. A little bit loose coming over the curbs.
Hats off to Dylan O'Shea there. Did the right thing and just held the brake and waited till he could get going and didn't affect any other drivers, and he was sitting in the middle of the track. So good lesson there for all of us.
Absolutely. And Blake's in the pits. Corey Mcfarlane's been into the pits. Roy Clark into the pits. Darren Shannon into the pits. Vargas had an off. Might just quickly jump on the replay, have a quick look what's happened there. A little bit loose coming down into turn 1 again. Gets it off into the kitty litter. All right, Dylan O'Shea. Sorry, Dylan O'Shea, Sean McNamara leading out in front. Then we've got Michael Brennan tucked in behind his teammate. Hayden Norris from Riot Sim Sports doing really well. And after that, we have Gian Lutzu, Blake Delaney, Ben Morris, Harrison Dengate still running in the top 10 in 7th. Dylan Rudd up 32 spots in 8th. But the man we're talking about at the moment, Sean McNamara, up 40 spots to be sitting in 1st. And absolutely flying. And Dylan Rudd being given a penalty for the unsafe rejoin on lap 12. I expected to see that one. James Scott's just set off purple lap time there. He's done a 1:06. As we might just quickly jump up to his last lap time. So you can see James Scott's just done a 1:06, absolutely flying. So definitely working his way back through the pack. Probably have his bit between his teeth after the run-in that he's had. Caught up in a few incidences going through with the Warboys incident, and then the other incident with Varga coming in after the safety car.
Yeah, he could have a bit of red mist there, and that lap time's only a couple of tenths off what he qualified in, so that's a really good lap from James.
As he's sitting in here, tucked in behind Dylan Rudd. Of course, Rudd with the drive-through. Rudd now tucked up behind Warboys, getting a bit, sorry, Warboys against Dengate, getting a little bit loose, a little bit wide. These boys definitely battling pretty hard through here. As it looks like Rudd's got past Dengate. James Scott now tucked in behind Dengate, having a look here.
They're dealing with a compromised exit there, and but he's going to stay out in front.
And he's come down in the tandem. So these boys are all bunched up still fairly well here through this group.
but Sean McNamara has cleared out a little bit, and Hayden Norris is now the cork in the bottle by the look of it. Blake Delaney doing a good job. He's the first of our 2 stoppers in 5th place.
Doing reasonably well. McNamara goes through. Of course, this is the battle where it's at. James Scott, Dengate, Rudd, Morris, Delaney, Lutzu, Brennan. And Dave Baldock in the chat throwing the gauntlet out to Ben Anthony. Starting to get the banter going for season 13 of Vets, where Mr. Anthony will be making his debut.
Yeah, fabulous news to see Ben going to make his debut on track and get away from the behind the scenes area of the series and enjoy some time on track, racing all the people who he's had to nanny for the past few years.
James Scott up the inside here, gets it done on Dengate. Just.
Or does he?
No, looks to the other side. Good pressure here for Harrison. Good practice.
Rudd peels off to do his drive-through.
And tucked up behind these boys, of course, is Brady Baldwin having a good run.
Yeah, great job from Brady. He's up 17 spots at the moment.
And may have another car stopped on circuit. Let's have a quick look back down. Matty Whitaker, Fishy Motorsports, he's got it going again. We'll jump back to Dengate. Enthralling battle here with James Scott. Oh, don't look him up, Harrison. Plenty of damage on that James Scott car as well. And Mark, Ben Anthony would like me to let you know that he's got his smoke machine ready.
You don't need machines to create smoke.
Definitely looking forward to having Ben running around in the pack anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be leaving a trail of thumbtacks and stuff behind him.
Let's move back a little bit. We've got Michael Whiting keeping the pressure on Cameron Jones here. And Dylan O'Shea's had an incident. We might quickly flick to that one. Supercheap auto replay. O'Shea's clipped the curb a little bit. It looks like he's coming up behind Barella. Barella turns in. Interesting. Leave that one to race control as well. I'm loving this commentating stuff. Just pass the buck. Over to you, race control.
I can't remember a race where we've seen so many incidents in such a short amount of time.
Absolutely. We haven't even reached half race distance. Definitely very hectic. Let's jump on with Michael Brennan. So Sean McNamara will go through the race situation. Has started from rear of the grid. He's up 40 spots into P1. He's out 4 seconds ahead of Hayden Norris from Riot Sim Racing. Both of them are one-stoppers. Gianni Luzzi was involved in an accident at the start of the race. He's managed to get himself back up as a one-stopper as well into P3. Teammate Michael Brennan is sitting in 4th as a one-stopper. And the first of our 2 stoppers is Blake Delaney from Fishy Motorsports, followed by James Scott, who's managed to get himself past Morrison and Dengate, who are also 2 stoppers. And then we've got Mcfarlane, a one-stopper, Baldwin, a one-stopper, and then James Chastaneuf, Cameron Jones, Whiting, Dyke, and Smart are 2 stoppers. So it's still a bit of a mixed strategy we've got running here.
Yeah, without a doubt, Blake Delaney and James Scott definitely the ones in the box seat at the moment, but as we've seen from the action tonight so far, anything can happen around here.
Absolutely. And of course, season 2 champion Corey Mcfarlane started very good as well. Came for a drive to say good day. And he's sitting in 9th. And Blake Delaney here under all sorts of pressure now from James Scott coming up the back straight. And of course, James Scott already had his 2 pit stops. So it'll be interesting to see how much fuel saving he's got going on. While he's working his way through here, we might jump on board and have a listen. Course, cracking lap there, showing his skill and ability, getting past Brennan. Now tucked up behind the next of the 9.5 sim drivers in Gianni Lutzu. Lutzu, of course, missing a bonnet, so wouldn't be at full pace.
Yeah, James showing what a quality driver he is. Very smooth on his inputs. Like you say, he made nice move up the back straight to get past Michael Brennan, and yeah, on his way to the next victim.
Absolutely. And I reckon he'd be past Gianni here quite quickly, I think. As Dylan O'Shea gets a drive through for contact with 823. That being the Matt Whitaker entry. As James Scott now tucks in past Gianni, puts his head down now and focuses on Hayden Norris, 1.2 seconds up the road. And wouldn't be a broadcast if I didn't do this. We might go, Roy Clark's had an incident. Coming into Dandenong corner. Gets on the curb, gets a little bit loose, and nicely has to park and wait for everyone to go through. Not a fun experience, that one. I've been there and done that.
Yeah, I think we've all been there and done that one. And yeah, like I said, I haven't turned a lap here, but what I'm saying is these curbs are causing many problems tonight for a lot of drivers.
Absolutely. As Hayden Norris now peels off into the pits, which moves McNamara into P2. Sorry, Scott into P2, chasing McNamara down, who's 4.4 seconds in front of him. So definitely a battle and a half coming up towards the front, but looks like James Scott managed to get through this traffic quite easily. Gets himself at least 3 seconds up the road from Blake Delaney as the other two stop up.
Had a car stopped on track there for a while. I think it was Dave Kirby down at Dandenong Road, but he's got it going again.
Let's see, we'll have a quick look what happened to Dave. Go to Supercheap Auto replay while we've got a little bit of time. And comes in a bit hot in the Dandenong Road. Takes it all the way. Where the new intersection's going to be for the new estate. Let's go to live pictures. James Scott now, definitely 3.8, definitely catching Sean McNamara quite quickly. And Kirby's got it going again. So
Dave was down there paying a deposit, I think.
it must have been. We might have a look. Still a good battle going on with Brady Baldwin, Dengate and Chastity. I think Chastaneef and Dengate haven't been too far apart from each other all night.
Yeah, James doing another great job tonight. He's just been chipping away at this series for the whole season, and he's in a good position in the points, and good to see him just, you know, racing smart again tonight.
Absolutely. Here's Baldwin pulls out, trying to make his way through. Letting some traffic through, sorry. One of the fishy cars a little bit wide there. Looks like gets it back in under control, Jamie Dyke. And we've got a post-race points penalty for Andrew Dyson for contact with 823. So 823, that was Matt Whitaker. So a couple of retirements already. A few boys definitely in the wars this evening. As I said, it's been definitely a lot of elbows out racing, a lot of boys struggling racing on a track they're unfamiliar with Sandown being one of the newer circuits in iRacing coming out this season. Brady Baldwin doing a good job here to hang on to Jamie Dyke in front and stay in front of Michael Whiting. And McNamara has peeled off into the pits now as he comes back out in 30th. So interesting to see how a green flag's pit stop hurts.
Yeah, that's a big drop, isn't it? Going from 1st to 30th, but anyway, Sean's good enough to fight his way back.
Absolutely. Doing very well. Blake Delaney up into 3rd. At the moment, Corey Mcfarlane also running around in 35 spots up, sitting in 4th spot. Having an absolute cracker of a race. And they're all sort of still tucked up behind this Dengate Chastaneef battle. And sorry, with Ben Morris in front of him as well. It's not adding up here. Sorry, Dylan Rudd, all racing up behind Dengate. There's a lap down car. But another man driving on a mission by the looks. Slow entry out of Dandenong's allowed Chastaneef up the inside of Dengate, which then turns into the outside. Dengate using all the curb there. Nicely hangs on. Definitely a great battle behind with Cameron Jones. And Jamie Dyke having a big look up the inside of Cameron Jones. So of course, we've got a bit of a jumbled pit strategy going on. Might have a quick look at the pit strategy box so everyone can have a look again. So James Scott, Liuzzi lapped early on lap 1. Liuzzi's gone 43 laps on this dinner tyres. And then Farland's only had the one stop as well, stopping on lap 24. So he's pretty well much in the same mix as everyone else around him. So that's a great drive from Corey. Battling away with... Oh, Corey's just made a mistake while we're talking. Commentator's curse. Let's quickly go to the replay. Just comes in a little bit hot in the Dandenong. Absolutely. Interesting stuff.
Yeah, sorry, John. I've just been trawling through the back half of the field there, watching Sean McNamara in quite a heavy scrap with who was it? Kirby, Roy Clark. Yeah, it was looking pretty ugly, but Sean's navigated his way through there safely for now.
Doing quite well. Ash Barella's up 7 spots into 15th. In front of Jared Bailey at the moment. Another tight little battle here on track.
Good comeback from Jared Bailey too, like considering I'm pretty sure he was caught up in that first lap incident and went all the way back to the back of the pack. So it's been a good job from Jared to fight his way back into the midfield there.
Yeah, definitely doing really well. Jared, of course, 2 stops, so is Barella. So these guys are pretty much on strategy at the moment. And Gianni Lutzu's come in after his 43-lap stint. Barella goes off dead in on corner. As we jump back on with Jamie Dyke. A fishy motorsport driver. Doing reasonably well, fighting back after a couple of incidences early on in the day. Put himself back up into the top 6 now as he hunts down James Chastaneef in front of him. Of course, great looking livery with the gold fish down the side.
Yeah, it is a great livery, that one. Can't miss Jamie on track.
And Dengate sitting in 4th, having a cracking drive here. Under all sorts of pressure still from James Chastaneef. As Corey Mcfarlane now peels off for his 2nd pit stop. And for those following along at home, Sean McNamara has now worked his way back up to 25th.
Yeah, I'm sure that battle that Sean was caught up in has cost him a little bit of track time, so I'm not sure where Corey will peel back out, but Gianni was able to make some ground on him.
Yeah, and Corey McFarlane coming out now, so whether he gets out in front of McNamara will be the other interesting one. Gianni's very close behind now. There's a bit of smoke here. I missed a lot of smoke coming down in the Dandenong. I think Craig Wasley and Hayden Norris maybe, as we go to Supercheap Auto Replay, coming down the hill. The Dandenong corner. Bit of a lock-up, another lock-up, another little tap. Craig Wasley just getting a little bit loose. Plenty of tyre smoke. As Adam Briggs has gone into the pits for his 3rd stop, so obviously struggling to get home from there. Will Wilson saying the smoke down Dandenong corner is someone torching the display home.
Yeah, Dandenong corner seen plenty of action tonight, as has a few other places, but yeah, it's interesting. It seems like there's no strategy tonight. Just go as hard as you can for as long as you can.
Jared Bailey getting a redress for a bump and run on Barella. As Jamie Dyke now getting very racy with James Chastaneef. It's definitely been a real pedal to the metal and just go, and if someone's in the way, we just go through them. Chasty fighting well here from Dyke. Sandown slog. That's a nice one, Will.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, I don't think there's anything. There hasn't been any real dirty driving. It's just driver error that's causing other drivers to be caught up in their mistakes. And yeah, we're just seeing some unusual carnage for this series.
Yeah, I think the boys are just pushing hard. I suppose is how you'd put it. Like I said, there's no malice in it. Just pushing hard, making mistakes, and you know, as we always talk about, you got to put the pressure on the guy in front to make those mistakes. And I think the early safety cars put a few guys out of position as well, which makes people a little bit more nervous. As we want to jump back, Adam Briggs, our championship leader, he's back in 20th at the moment, fighting his way back through after his third stop. James Scott, though, out in P1, is 11 seconds ahead of Blake Delaney now. As we tick over lap 51 of 81, so 30 laps to go. And Jamie Dykes had an off track now. Another one. Let's go Supercheap Auto replay. A little bit hot coming in the Dandenong again, finding the grass. It's definitely been a difficult night for a few boys.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing down at Dandenong there is that the car swings left and right, and then they're getting on the brakes at the same time, and yeah, the car doesn't like to be unbalanced at all. So, and it's causing some of the drivers a few problems tonight.
Absolutely, and it's one of those parts of the track where you know you can actually, if you can get that little bit deeper, you'll make up plenty of time on the guy in front of you. So you're dancing a fine line of how hard you can push and what you got to do to keep the car balanced and stable. Briggsy getting past Matthew Brunt. Great to have Nat racing with us again tonight. Another one of the SSR boys. A big shout out to the Synergy Sim Racing team. Sure, Jordan Ross is quietly watching somewhere in the background. As we might just keep back up. Of course, we're still at this battle here between James Chastanese and Cameron G. Jones, with Michael Whiting latching onto the background of it.
Also got a pretty tough battle pack back in from 22nd down to 27th with Corey Mcfarlane, Jamie Dyke, Sean McNamara and Gianni Lutzu and Dylan O'Shea. So it's a pretty tough group there to be back in 22nd to 26th position.
Absolutely. Very, very quality drivers as well. Definitely settled down a bit now. The race is definitely starting to come to a few of these boys. As Ben Morris has just been involved in an incident. Might just quickly go back up to the front and check that out as Morris tumbles back down the order out of the top 10. The inside of, or outside there of Dengate. Not 100% certain what's happened. We'll leave that one up to someone else to have a look. Takes the time to duck into the pits. Smart move. Let's go back to live pictures.
I tell you what, James Scott is not that far off Dylan O'Shea. So O'Shea, Lutzu, McNamara, Dyke, McFarlane, they're all going to be under pressure from James Scott and go on the lap down soon if they're not careful.
There is James. James is there. So yeah, definitely starting to latch onto the back of that group. And I think I said SSR, so Synergy Sim Racing will. I don't think there's Hypersonic boys aren't racing in this series this season. James using a lot of the curb through there. Managing to keep the car settled and balanced. And you wonder how much pace is lost. I suppose it's not a long straight. So still, you'd be wondering how much pace is lost by that aero damage on the front of James's car.
His lap times are still pretty quick. One of the quickest out on track, if not the quickest on track. So I don't think he's losing out too much.
James Chastney's had an incident. We might go back and have a look there. He's still in his battle position. And he's just found the grass. So let Jones through. Whiting's going to get through. No, he's not. Very lucky boy there not to be scraping it up the side of the fence. James Scott using every inch of the circuit here, not holding back. As he now lines up Dylan O'Shea with the next one in front of him, P26. So definitely catching that group. Chastity and Ladder are both in the pits for their third stop. David Nash has come in as well.
And maybe James can't get home from his second stop.
That's what I was just thinking. Matty Brunt's in the pits as well. Might just have a quick look. Matty Stewart is up to 20 spots into 7th. He's putting a lot of pressure on Christian Smart and got Matthew Scholes behind. A big shout out to the 1-9 boys. Don't forget too, the entries are still open for next season. Like I said, we've only got one more round after this tonight. We're off to Fuji next week. And of course, round season 4 sees us with an Enduro at Bathurst and an Enduro back here at Sandown at the end of the season for a Sandown 500. But we kick off on the 12th of September at Donington, which will be an interesting track for the boys to race at. But seasons are open, so entries are open for the season, so make sure you jump on the Facebook page or jump on Discord and get your entries in. We've already got quite a few names already entered, some big names as well, which is good to see. As we now got Drage, Bailey, Scholler and Dawson in the pits. And of course, some of the names that we've already got entered are Jordan Ross from Synergy Sim Racing and Adam Briggs. We've got Jake Johnson coming from 1-9, one of the new drivers. Troy Maguire's back for Fishy. As Stuart ducks into the pits as well, so does Dengate. James Scott's going to be left out by himself here, so I reckon he'll be coming in again. A couple other big names for those that follow along at home. So Scotty Van Loon, the Rattler from Pecky's Performance Racing, one of the biggest improvers in vets this season. And some of the other ones, Roy Clark is back for another round. And we've got James Anderson coming in from Team Sim Black Racing. And yeah, so we're looking at Tom Frere's back as well from Synergy. So we've got a really good lineup for next season already, Mark.
Yeah, looking forward to next season already. I'm sure the field will be just as competitive as it has been in the past 2 seasons. So, yeah, if you're out there watching, you want to get involved, get on the Facebook page, sign up, and get out here on a Tuesday night and have some good racing.
Absolutely. And Will Wilson, Ben Anthony's in vets, mate. James Scott here, absolutely dealing with this traffic quite nicely as he now comes up behind Kenneth Latta, the 14 man. And just going back through the guys that have stopped for their third stops. Craig Schultz has had 3 stops. Briggs has had 3 stops. And then we've got Chastity in 5th. Dengate back in 7th, so he's been jumped by Chastity. Might just drop back to that battle and have a look because Cameron Jones is in the middle of them.
James Scott's just peeled off, so everybody can be relieved that they're not going to go, half the field's not going to go a lap down.
Big shout out to Stephen Murray as well, who's joined us in the chat. So great little battle here between Chastity, Jones, Dengate, Whiting in the back. These boys have all pretty well much been nose to tail for most of this race. The order changes a little bit, but it's pretty much been the same result as Warren Davis peels off into the pits as well. James Scott back out on track. He's come back out in 2nd spot. So definitely cleared the way a fair way. Delaney out in front still has to stop. As we only have 21 laps left now.
Yeah, incredible job, James. From James Scott, 3 stops, still in 2nd spot. He's made his own luck tonight. He's driven very, very smart. Used his periphery vision very well to avoid other people's incidents. And yeah, he's still got a big chance to take the victory tonight.
Absolutely. Looking forward to seeing how this still all unplays, because 21 laps, the way these boys have been going off, and particularly at Dandenong Corner, I think we've still got a long way to go. I wouldn't rule out another safety car at this stage.
Yeah, a lot of prospective buyers looking at that corner block down at Dandenong Road.
Definitely hot property. These 4 boys here having a ding-dong battle. We might have a quick look through. Blake Delaney's jumped into the pits now, putting James Scott back out into P1. And you see Delaney's managed to get himself back out on track, I believe, in front of everybody still as well. So he's going to resume back into P2. So that's a great drive from Blake.
Yeah, Blake, very clever driver, drives to his strengths. He's very quick in his own right, knows how to fuel save, always good with strategy, as all the fishing boys are. So no surprises.
Absolutely. And jump on board here with Dengate as he tucks up behind Jones and Chastity. Has a little bit of a look. That's Cameron Noe's there. Rolls it down in the Dandenong corner. Using all the real estate, these boys. No one's holding back here. This is a slugfest to the finish, I think, for these guys. And Gate getting it up on 2 wheels. And as we duck down front straight. Whiting. Sean McNamara is moving his way back up through the field too. He's back up into 11th, just behind Jamie Dyke. These guys using all the real estate here at the moment. Jones now having a look on Chastity, letting him know he's there. Dengate's dropped back a couple of car lengths, but he'll close that up real quick coming in the Dandenong corner. Of course, for those regular viewers of V8 racing in iRacing in Australia, quite well know Ethan Grigg Golf from Evolution Race Team, and in fact he races in the XLs. We had a 6 car length lead at the Vic Championships on Sunday down at Sandown, and He had an off at Dandenong Corner as well, and if you get a chance to go to Blendline TV and watch that one, absolutely pounds the steering wheel. So I don't know if that steering wheel is any good anymore. But well worth a look. Blendline TV, those guys do a great job bringing grassroots motorsport broadcasts to life. Well worth a look for a lot of the series that are run on a Vic State level, and it's quite amazing when you sort of sit there and watch something like the Formula Ford and some of the young names being rattled off, like Jordan Sinney. You know, these are the younger blokes that we've seen racing in iRacing in Scops. So it's great to see these young blokes out there doing it for real.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's always good hard racing too. Like at that level of motorsport, it's all about the driver's skill.
Absolutely, and that's what these boys are showing here tonight. We might jump on with Craig Schultz for a minute as Adam Briggs lines him up and moves himself into P3. So Adam, of course, our championship elect at the moment. Will Wilson, yeah, if you just Google in YouTube or even just in Google itself, Blendline TV. They do a really great coverage of grassroots motorsport. I know on Sunday I was doing a few other things and I just had it up on the screen running in the background. But yeah, very entertaining. And a big shout out to Jordan Ross in the chat as well. So Craig Schultz now peels off. I think everyone's just about made their last stop now, but James Scott still managing to limp himself around 16 seconds in front of Blake Delaney. So the boys have definitely settled down a fair bit as we come to the end. Tom Freeze jumped in as well. Big shout out to Tom. Of course, Tom and Jordan both listed in the entries for next season that we put up before, or talked about before. And James Scott doing rather well. Blake Delaney has managed to hang on, even though he's 17 seconds back. He's kept his nose clean most of the evening. And quite a few incidences that we've had to deal with. Adam Briggs now into P3. Looking very composed. And he's got James Chastity for a further second and a half, or not, nearly 2 seconds back. Then this has been the big battle that we've been watching for a little while, the Chastaneve, Jones, Dengate, Mcfarlane battle. And these boys are about to have a new person joining the back of it, of course, with Michael Whiting, or Corey McFarlane's joined this battle, sorry. So I expect these boys to get a bit racy in these closing 15 laps.
Yeah, we know from last year's season winner, championship winner, Corey McFarlane knows how to put on a few moves, so expecting him to make this battle hot up when he gets right on the back of Harrison.
Absolutely, of course. Corey having a one-off appearance here for this one, so he won't be worrying about championship points or anything else like that. He'll just be having a go.
Cam Jones doing a super job too. He's
inside.
Up.
Oh, Chasty. So as you say that, Cam Jones gets the job done at Dandenong Corner.
Yeah, Cam's a great driver. He loves his racing. He's pretty passionate about it. He's a hard racer, as we just see him lose a couple of spots that he just made up.
Yeah, don't go quick on the grass. Cooled his tyres down, but don't go quick. Big shout out to Michael Angus, another one of the boys in the chat. He usually drives each week. The Fishy boys been in a few wars tonight, mate, but they're definitely doing the best they can.
Blake Delaney doing a great job. He's sitting in second spot, doing the Fishy team real proud up there up front.
Jamie's fought his way back to 9th after a bit of a rough start as well. Chassis for the Banter Alliance Racing Team doing reasonably well here. As Cameron Jones now has a look up the inside of Wallboys Dengate. Of course, we've had a few big... Oh, Harrison gets a bit loose. This is going to open the door up for Mcfarlane and Jones. Here comes Jones up the inside.
Jones
goes deep. No. Well, you said to be the commentator's curse tonight. And Ash Barella with a penalty for contact with car 3 on lap 65. Tisk Mr. Barella. So definitely a lot of hard racing going on all through the pack. Of course, Barella having some contact there with Paul Young. We've missed that one in the replays. This is an exciting battle here. It's Corey Mcfarlane now tries to work his way past Dengate. James Chastity is being Mr. Cool in front of these boys. And this is why Chastity's been running in the top 5 of the series for most of the season. He's just kept his cool and just kept plugging away.
I'm not saying a word.
As we start lap 69 of 81, James Scott's now 20 seconds in front of Delaney. And Briggs is a further 7 seconds behind and then 3 seconds up the road from this pack. There's a couple of other battle packs we might just quickly have a look before we come back to this one. Ben Morris is making a good recovery as he's about to hunt down Matty Stewart. Cam Jones has been off the track again. Not sure if that was with Barella. Might have a quick look at the replay on that one, Mark. It's Barella by himself down at Dandenong corner, and Cameron Jones taking another shortcut. So probably a little bit of red mist in that Century Motorsport car after the error he made before. And then Warren Davis has had an off as well, the BAR driver, coming down into the same section of the circuit. Gets a little bit loose. So I'd say these boys now starting to get some old tyres, Mark. And
Old tyres and a little bit of weariness creeping in. A lot of concentration required for 81 laps around here.
Absolutely.
Sean McNamara and Jamie Dyke having a great battle as well for 8th and 9th spot.
Absolutely. Let's quick jump on board with Macca. He was leading the race there at one stage. Definitely battling away. There's a spun WK&P car there. Looks like Barella again. So I think he might have been involved with something with Dylan O'Shea, or not 100% certain who. That was the car that passed him when he spun that time.
Still sitting there.
Let's quickly go to the replay. Have a look what happened. Dylan O'Shea just clipped him in the back quarter panel. And tree got in the way. Got it lit up and into the fence. Waited for everyone else to come past.
Oh, we've got the safety car on track because I'm presuming Ash can't get the car out of there.
Yellow flag.
Been one of the iRacing Velcro tricks there.
It does a great job of that, doesn't it? Where are you, Mr. Barella? He's back in the pits at the moment, so not sure what's going on there.
No, he's towed, so the safety car is on track.
Yep, there it is. We are going to be in for a 10-lap sprint. This is going to be exciting. Of course, this brings a few of the other boys back on. Stephen Varga is in the chat. Said, Stephen, you're always more than welcome to jump in, mate. And here he is. Stephen Varga, welcome to the broadcast booth, mate. You've hit the showers early tonight. What's happened?
just wrecked it really. Wrecked the car. Nearly took a couple of people out turn one, including a teammate. Another time it was someone else. I knew that if I didn't just gun it across there and get it to the grass, I would have cleaned him up. So it was a very lucky incident there. But
Yeah, he saw you coming too. He definitely tried to avoid the best he could. Very, very smart driving from James and by yourself at that stage.
Oh, well, nice fun.
But she's been a hard night from a lot of the boys. We're just commenting that, you know, it's not very often we've seen all these guys make so many little mistakes. So I just don't know whether it's lack of racing practice on this track or whether it's just the nature of the Sandown circuit with the curbs and the layout.
Yeah, not sure. It almost makes Oran Park look like a walk in the park, really.
Yeah, I was just saying to John earlier tonight, the curbs, as in real life here at the V8s, that the curbs have claimed plenty tonight, and Dandenong Road has seen pretty much every car take a visit and have a look at the corner block down there.
Yeah, no, very high, very rounded. So, yeah. Oh well, it's a fun track, nonetheless.
Absolutely. Boys have definitely put on a good show. James has dominated really well. Pit strategies for these safety cars has been a little bit confusing for a few of the guys, but I think James has just stuck to his recovery after the earlier spin and got caught up in the Wallboys incident as well, hence the damage on the front quarter panel there. Of course, Wallboys ended up on his roof and the fence, which we've never seen before, coming in the Dandenong corner, sitting up on top of the tyre wall. But he's managed to recover up quite well. And Blake Delaney, I think, has had probably the picture-perfect race. He's kept out of trouble, kept the car straight, and has just really done an awesome job to WK&P too.
Yes, indeed.
He has. And then Adam Briggs, of course, our champion-elect, he's just shown the class he's shown all season to recover from that early incident that he was also involved in. So it's been a tough gig for these boys.
Yeah, it's been a real tough night for a lot of drivers. Not too many cars that don't have a mark on them out there. Blake Delaney possibly is one of them. So I think we've got one more lap under the safety car, and then we'll be having an 8-lap dash by the look of it.
8-lap dash, and we've got the old Chastanoof Dengate battle going on for 4th and 5th. Corey Mcfarlane's bought into that one. Michael Whiting will be getting back into the action. He's been sitting on the back of those boys for most of the night. Jamie Dyke and Sean McNamara now get brought back up to the pack as well. Might just have a quick throw up on the pit strategy so we can see he's on newer tyres. And of course, Scott Delaney will be on the newest tyres from Briggs. And then Chastity Dengate are sort of in the middle there. McFarlane's on a long stint with his tyres. But Whiting and Dyke got fairly fresh new tyres as well. And Macca's on a long run with his tyres after doing his first pit stop on lap 1. And then lap 42 for his second stop. So Macca, I think, might struggle with his tyres a bit moving forward here. And McFarlane may struggle as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see with this 8-lap sprint to home.
Yeah, hopefully the tyres are recovered a bit with, I think, 2 or 3 laps under the safety car. So they might get a bit of life brought back into them. And, yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Blake Delaney can hang on. He'll have a lot of pressure from Adam Briggs behind him.
Absolutely. I think we're in for a cracker of a finish. I'm going to go it. I haven't done it for a long time. We're going to go the big finish button, I reckon. James Scott's going to have it in the bag, but I reckon the remaining positions are all up for grabs.
Yeah, 2nd to 40th. It could be anyone's.
And Stephen Murray asking if Briggs will make it on fuel. Chuck the pit strategy window up real quick. Briggs will make it on fuel, mate, with only 8 laps to go. I think we saw someone do 40 laps. You can see Delaney and Scott 40 and 39 laps. So as that safety car now clears out. Mr. Scott takes control of the field. Just need to see whether he goes early or goes late. Delaney tucked up right behind. A little bit of a knee-jerk reaction now. I reckon that's it. We're off. Little knee-jerk was the time to go. And Scott is flying. Delaney doing all right. And Chastity having a look up the inside of Briggs. 2 wide through turn 1 between Briggs and Delaney. Briggs and Chastity, sorry. And Chastity still hanging tough in here. Tucks him back behind. And Corey Mcfarlane now having a bit of a look side by side with Dengate. So Chastity's now dropped back into the clutches of the boys behind as Briggs takes away into third spot. And I've just been tipped off on something else, which I'll come back to. I might stay with this battle here first.
Michael Whiting off at
Michael Whiting, no. Someone else running slow there as well. I'm not sure who the other slow car was. We'll come back to that. These boys have dropped back. So now the battle up here in fourth is Dengate and Mcfarlane now. So Chastity's dropped out of the back of that battle. Mcfarlane now having up the look inside. Big Sen gets it a bit loose, manages to bring it back on in front of Jamie Dyke. Some great battles running through the middle pack here. It's hard to know where to look. McNamara now latched onto the back of Chastanoof. Roy Clark's been involved in an incident as well. We might come back to that in a minute. Definitely battles everywhere through here. It's Harrison Dengate now under all sorts of pressure from Corey Mcfarlane. Young Harrison holds his line through Dandenong corner, manages to hang on. This will be definitely a bit too much curve there for Harrison. Manages to keep control of the car, but it'll be a slow exit. This will open the door up for Mcfarlane, who goes to the inside. Of course,
Harrison being good on the brakes down here all night though.
Of course, these two battling have allowed Jamie Dyke to come into the battle as well. As we might just move back up towards the front now. Blake Delaney is starting to come under a little bit of pressure from Adam Briggs. So definitely a bit happening up the front. As you can see that battle pack behind. As we're on lap 76 now of 81. Boys have been going for over an hour and a half. They expect a little bit of fatigue to kick in for some of these guys, particularly the vets drivers.
Yeah, so James Scott out in front. He's got nearly a 3-second lead, and we're just coming up to 5 laps to go. Blake Delaney doing a good job, but it looks like Adam Briggs has actually got the job done and taken second spot.
We'll just see. Briggsy should probably just settle in here. James is definitely cleared out. We might just roll back now to this other pack with Dengate. He's now under pressure from Jamie Dyke. And it looks like Mcfarlane's got the job done in front of him here. And Dylan O'Shea's been DQ'd for too many incidents. Stephen Seb's wanting me to go back and have a look at Richard Barella's entry into pit lane, which we will do post-race. I believe it may be entertaining. As... Oh, we've got another bump and run, bit of a tap. Jamie Dyke's definitely involved in there. Looks like Chastity's involved as well. We're going to go to the Supercheap Auto replay on this one. Jamie coming through. I think he has a bit of a look up the inside here, coming into Dandenong. Gets clipped spins. Chassis goes to avoid, throws the car around. Chassis's off in the grass. A lot of tyre smoke, but no more collision. So nice recovery there from Jamie. And Dengate lives to play another day as well. Jump a bit further back. Sean McNamara has worked his way up now into 8th. Tucked in behind his teammate Dylan Rudd. Got a bit of a 9.5 train happening here.
Yeah, Dylan Rudd doing a great job. 5 pit stops tonight, and he's still finding himself in 7th spot.
And Dave Kirby's off in the grass again as well. As I jump back there. Of course, Gianni Luzzi in the top 10 in his second outing in the East Coast Series. Oh, Gianni gets a bit loose there. Taps it up the inside of the boss and says, "Hello, boss, I'm here." Which now opens the door for Chassis to make a bit of a recovery. There's definitely some exciting racing everywhere you look at the moment.
Jamie Dyke is all over the shop at the moment. He's had like 3 ops in the last lap.
I reckon there'd probably be a little bit of red mist in that car as well. I don't think he'd be too happy with what's happened.
Yeah, he fought his way back after being caught up earlier tonight, only to see him have that incident with Harrison the lap before and lose a whole heap of positions.
Of course, Will Wilson, a regular viewer, taking a jab at me for my pit stop entry at Suzuka on the weekend. On Thursday night at Vets. I don't think anyone's going to do a more entertaining pit entry than that, Will. Having a huge battle there, Cullen, and went into the pits and thought I'm just going to push that last little bit, get a little bit of extra pace out of the car, and then decided to spin and do a 180 on pit entry into Suzuka. Not very popular with myself. As Josh Strage has had an incident, as well as Warren Davis. There's a few boys still falling off around the traps. I think someone has stopped out the back. I'm not sure who that is. I think Josh Strage has got it going now. But Briggs is under all sorts of pressure again now from Blake Delaney. So this is quite interesting to see. This is a battle for 2nd and 3rd. And Corey Mcfarlane now latched on the back here as well.
Well, Corey won't need a second invitation.
No, it definitely won't. This could be an interesting finish for these guys here. Of course, we're on our penultimate lap at the moment. As we head down into the last 2 corners. And James Scott takes the white flag. This is our last lap. Been a very entertaining, bumpy race.
As indeed, John, and the second 2 places on the podium are definitely not settled yet.
Absolutely. We did press the big finish button. As Delaney getting a little bit defensive there with Mcfarlane tucked in behind. Going to be very interesting to see what we can do coming into Dandenong corner here for the last time for these boys. It's Mcfarlane looking very racy on Delaney. Dengate clear and safe out in 5th spot. No one around it. Side by side. Delaney going deep into the, not quite into the gravel, but loses the spot. And he's going to lose it to Dengate as well. Oh no, Blake.
Big disappointment for Blake Delaney, but it was always going to be on the cards. He got a bad run out of turn 4, and that just opened the door for Corey. Well done, James Scott, Adam Briggs, great drives.
Corey Mcfarlane home in 3rd. Harrison Dengate brings it home in 4th. That's a pretty epic finish for him. I think he'd be pretty chuffed. Of course, Mcfarlane up 36 spots. Dengate up 5 spots. Dylan Rudd is brought it home in 6th, up 34 spots. It's a great drive for him. And we might quickly jump back a little bit. Kenny Ladder has done really well. He's got himself back into 7th after all the fun and games he had early on in the evening. And definitely a great drive to James Scott.
Yeah, absolutely. James really showed his class out front tonight. He almost got taken out a couple of times, and he has absolutely hung on and showed how strong he is in this series.
Absolutely. And it's a compliment to himself, compliment to the team that he drives for as well.
Yeah, it felt bad for Blake Delaney. He did everything right tonight, and then just that safety car threw him back into the clutches of a few drivers behind him, and he just wasn't quite able to hang on. Probably only made one mistake tonight, and that was on the last lap.
And we might just have a quick look at this. This is the one I'm looking for. Oh, that's not pretty. Sorry, Richie.
People do anything to get on TV these days.
Absolutely. And who was your driver of the night, Steve? If you're still with us.
It had to be James after falling back after I nearly cleaned him up and he fell back to 20th and then made his way back to the podium. So,
yeah.
Never doubted it though, even though he had damage on his car.
Oh, absolutely. You just can't doubt it. He's just shown some great skill. He's driven really well. And I think he just kept a level head, which is great to see. Might just go to this lap 10 incident. I was trying to work out something here. I circled off lap 10 for a reason. All right, was the Dyke incident with that one? Wasn't that one I was looking for, was it? Dylan Rudd. That's the one I was thinking of. So Danny on corner, definitely a tough corner. That's up the inside of you there, Vargs. Another one off the curb and hit him shoulder.
And here we go. I'm only watching the replay now because I'm a bit delayed here.
Yep.
Ooh.
Oh, that was the one, Andrew Dyson was black flag for. It was a pretty tough call on.
Hey. Some tough calls. As we just wait for the
Taking my bump now. Here you go.
boys to jump back into the room. Change.
I think that was Dylan Rudd as well on taking Vargs out and then a poor re-entry. I'm pretty sure Dylan had a couple of drive-throughs tonight and he still managed to get back to 6th spot.
Absolutely. It was just a tough one. We might just see if we can throw the results up. They pop up and they haven't popped up yet. Don't know why. I haven't declared the race. I'll send in a replay. That's what it'll be. No, for some reason, it's not playing the game. Yeah, so Tracy Blake ended up being classified in 39th after I think he had a fairly long time waiting for the car to be repaired. And I'm just going to try and find the War Boys incident now. Trying to remember what lap that was on. Help me out, Mark.
I'm walking around my room. I can't help you.
That's all right. Show up in one of these boxes in a second.
Oh, you've got all the podium in the green room.
Right, we do we? Okay, yep. We might start by bringing in James Scott. James, congratulations on P1, mate.
Thanks, Matt.
That was a very tough drive.
Yeah.
Since Stephen Vargas in here to personally apologise.
Look, I apologise at the time. Like I said, I never doubted it for a second that he'd get back up there. It was just, he needed a bit of competition, He needed a bit of a shake-up for the night. He couldn't just go out and sail out in front all the whole time. He had to work for it.
Oh, look, he drove really well in the sense that, like, this the peripheral vision you had to see Vargs coming.
Well, it was that, and it was my swearing. Oh, I don't know, I can't say it right now. I had a bit of a moment over the microphone. I he had a little bit of warning, but yes,
Just a little bit.
the sense to open up the steering wheel was very, very smart.
Yeah. No, that's all good. I saw it. Obviously, I had even in Discord as well. But yeah, that was all good.
Absolutely. Anyone
There
you
was
want
quite a bit going on out there tonight, James. You did well. You got caught up in the middle of the pack again and had to dodge some bullets, and you did really well to get back to the lead.
Yeah, thanks, mate. The car was really good. Seemed to have a pretty good engine in the front of it tonight. Was able to drag past a couple of guys. So, the car was really good. Come off the corner, basically a drag strip at this track. So, come off the corner really well and held onto its tyres, which I was able to do my fastest lap, sort of on the was it the fifth last lap of the race there. So definitely, car was hooked up tonight.
So you sort of were in the edge of the War Boys incident that we've sort of been talking about, and that's where you sort of got that big whack to your front quarter panel. So you didn't have any handling issues after that. Like the car was still running reasonably okay.
Yeah, it was running fine. It was really hard to judge because I came up behind a lot of guys, and there seems to be a lot of different philosophies of how they set the car up, or how different people set the car up around here. So it was really hard to judge what my straight line speed was like before and after that. But in saying that, the steering was all straight and everything. I don't know, I was a little bit worried about potentially blowing a motor. I wasn't sure if that was going to affect how it was getting cooled or anything, but no, luckily got out of that one. Unfortunately, I accidentally forget to untick my fast repair in, I think it was my second stop, so I used that when I didn't need to at all, which was a shame, but luckily it didn't hurt me in the end.
That's all right. And anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, obviously all the guys at SSR. Car was on rails tonight. Had a really good lead there for the safety car, but glad it was a good finish. Obviously Briggsy, I think he might have won the championship now, or is very close to it, so he's been doing an awesome job. And obviously our great sponsors as well, with Wave Runner Performance, Smith and Sons, Too Easy Finance, West End Mazda, Positives Mechanical. Probably forgot a few of the others, but and obviously you guys for the broadcast and the series admin for putting on a great series.
It's all right. We're still one more round to go. We might bring in our P2 man, the man we just talked about, Mr. Briggs. Adam, congratulations on P2, mate. You did it the hard way tonight.
Yeah, certainly did. I actually realistically probably have absolutely no right to becoming second. I had absolutely minimal pace. There's lots of people that were faster than me, and I missed my strategy call a fair bit. So no, it's probably more by good fortune than good execution. But anyway, we'll take it.
Yeah,
So,
Blake Delaney wouldn't be too happy with himself, I don't think.
Yeah. I was just sending me a message then, thanking me for the good racing. So yeah, it looks like he might have went wide, and yeah. So anyway,
we said there'd be a fair bit of pressure. We even pressed the big finish button for the rest of the podium, and yeah, definitely. I think Mark even said that it's anybody's still for the last lap when we got onto that one. So yeah, you got to be pretty happy with that. And using my 3 fingers for arithmetic, I'd probably say you've got the championship wrapped up now too, mate. So congratulations.
Yeah, cool. That's. I didn't really quite know how the drop rounds were going to work out, so I didn't look too hard into it. I knew it wasn't too far away, but I also knew that the easiest way to deal with it was just to get in and race the best you can and just forget about the rest of it. So, which was a little bit concerning considering maybe a bit of lack of pace this week. But a lot of people have done a lot of laps here when the track first came out. Obviously, being an Australian track, people really lapped it up and enjoyed it. Whereas I've done, I think, prior to tonight, a grand total of about 40 laps on it, which is not many laps for me. I'm actually the type of guy who gets in and probably does, before I really know a track, I've probably got to do 100+ laps.
Yep.
So So yeah, I just felt a bit undercooked going into it. But at the end of the race though, I felt like I knew the place a lot better. So if we had the race again tomorrow, I'd probably do a lot better. But anyway, it's just put my best foot forward each race and see how we go.
Yep. No,
Yeah,
that's all you
well,
can
you
do.
did tonight. You just didn't make the mistakes that a lot of others made, and you might have not have executed the strategy you wanted, but you still made very minimal mistakes, and you ended up in second spot.
Well, yeah, like you try not to give free kicks to everyone, right? So,
Mm.
um, so to whether it's football, whether it's soccer, whether it's if you just keep giving away the game to other people, whether it be the race or free kicks or whatever the analogy is, if you don't have the pace, then perhaps maybe you got to find ways of not giving away time in other areas. You know what I mean? So, so sometimes when you don't have the pace, you've actually got to pull it back more than if you do, if that makes sense.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
yeah. So anyway.
Anyone want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, definitely. So all the SSR boys. James has been helpful the whole way through the season. There's also a lot of other guys doing a lot of good things as well. Like, you got Jared and Brody who did a lot of work earlier in the year on this track when some other series is visited as well that SSR does. So a lot of the hard work was already done. But Wave Runner Performance Center, JK Signs, Dave Oliver Photo as well, Dr. Epoxy, West End Mazda, Too Easy Finance, Posse's Mechanical. They're all Smith and Sons as well. They're all part of the team and what make it what it is. So I'd like to thank all those guys.
Absolutely. Always good that you can remember your sponsors and always give them a plug, because we appreciate doing this, and it takes a lot of people to make a series like this work, and it takes a lot of people to make a team like yours work as well. So that's great. We might bring in our third place man now, Mr. Corey Mcfarlane. Corey, how are you, mate? Congratulations on P3.
Yeah, good, thank you.
Welcome back, mate, as our season 2 champion. It's nice to see you haven't lost too much pace in the time you've been away from us.
I've definitely lost some consistency. It's good to be back, and I was keen to come and do a race at Sandown, so I couldn't miss it.
It's good to have you, mate. And got to probably say that you kept it fairly clean and stayed out of a lot of the trouble that was going on around everywhere else.
Yeah, pretty lucky.
Pretty lucky, yeah. Anyone you want to give a shout out to, mate?
Just send it Sim Sports, obviously. Love the team. Unfortunately, I haven't been on much, but thanks for all their help. Precision Performance Setup Shop, and then just had a few mates looking out for me tonight. Damon, Mario, Eddie, Kobe, and also Harris. So big thanks to them, and it was good fun with them in the chat.
Good. Glad you enjoyed it, mate. It's nice having you back. Of course, as a champion of the series, you're always welcome anytime. And next,
great drive, Corey, up 36 spots. I mean, you might have said you lost a little bit, but looking at the results sheet, you haven't lost too much.
Yeah, thank you. It's just a bit of luck, and like to think I've learned a bit about passing at Sandown, going down on the weekend and watching a few people around there. So it's a good track.
Yeah, we were talking about a few people on the weekend down there, particularly in the XLs. Anyway, we'll move on from that one. Next week, of course, boys, we are off to Fuji. So another new track on the O Racing calendar that came in this season. And we got 225k races. So back to the sprint format racing. So any thoughts on that one, guys?
No.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I think it's good to change up. That's probably what's really good about the series is there's lots of different little formats, and next season, looking at the schedule, there's even more formats with endurance racing and team racing. So it's all too easy to do the same thing every week. But the organisers of this series have really come up with a really diverse way of mixing it up. So it's really good.
It's good. I think Ash and Josh and Richie and Seb in the background, they do an awesome job, and the series just keeps going from strength to strength, and the entry numbers for next year are already looking really good, and we're trying to improve the quality of our broadcast each time as well. A big thank you again to Mark for being part of the team and getting the job done with it all, and big thanks to you boys for driving, because it's the James Scotts and the Adam Briggses and Corey Mcfarlanes are the reason why I love sitting here watching it on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thanks for the broadcast, and thank you for the guys who put the series on, because there's a lot of people that probably we get to do the races and enjoy the races, but a lot of these guys, for them, each round is so much work to put it on and set it up and that sort of thing. So thank you very much.
No, it's good, mate. We might end the broadcast there and say goodnight to everybody, and we'll see everybody again next week at 10 to 8 as we come from Fuji for the 2 sprint races. So good night, everybody, and thanks again, guys.
Thanks, John. Look forward to seeing you next week.
There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We weren't arguing.
They talk about their cars, sing about their cars. Some people even look like their car. Whether it's an old car, new old car, fast car, family car, electric car, race car, 2-wheel car, no-wheel car, or a car you know's parked around here somewhere. People who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small, some people tinker some degree between those two variables.
Whose voice is that?
And that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name.
It's Kevin.
Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super. Because super is our middle name. Well, technically it's our first.